So what does bias filter mean? You ready? Mm-hmm. I just see Angie say, I am an intuitive person. Okay.
And she agreed with your stance.
Oh, no, I agree.
Yeah.
No, I was compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
But here's an example of bias filter. Angie, how do you know you're intuitive? But I don't want you to answer. I want you to actually think about that for a second. Mm-hmm. How do you know? Here's the case example of what bias filter means. Okay? We had a client one time. Oh.
I got it before I interrupted you.
I'm just going to try and give you a little burpee.
Good.
We had a client one time. You're going to recognize exactly who it is when I start talking.
Okay.
We raised the point in this coaching group. The exact same point I just raised. Intuition is not bullshit. Mm-hmm. But the way a lot of people think they understand it is. Mm-hmm. She objected. Mm-hmm. And we asked her why. And she said, well, my ex-husband, I knew he was cheating on me. I just knew it. I knew intuitively he was cheating on me. And I was right. And because I acted on that intuition, I dissolved my marriage and I saved myself from hurt and heartache. I mean, I would have been screwed. Now, let's talk about what we're talking about, okay? A bias filter is comparable to confirmational bias. Anybody know what confirmational bias is? When we think something with such egregious truth, we use every and all of our senses to confirm that our bias is true. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, we are unconscious in the fact that we're doing that. Mm-hmm. If you asked a very devout Christian to look into the sky, they would tell you they saw the hand of God weaved in through the clouds. If you asked somebody who was not at all religious to look in the sky, they'd tell you they saw a very pretty blue sky. Mm-hmm. So who's right? But the reality is, if they got into a debate, they would debate each other completely until death, trying to prove the other wrong simply because they were confirming the bias they already have. They are unable to see the other side. Mm-hmm. It's not because they're hard-headed. It's not because they're right. Mm-hmm. It's not because they're stubborn. It's because they have a bias. Mm-hmm. You have a bias. I have a bias, Kip. We all have a bias. And that's the way mindset needs to be understood. Is intuition wrong? No, there is an intuition, and a lot of the time it is spot on. But referring back to our old client, here's after working with her, which we realized, and we helped her realize. Mm-hmm. She smelt perfume on her husband's shirt. Mm-hmm. She picked up his phone and saw a number of texts from the same phone number that she didn't recognize and had no name. She couldn't access the content, but she saw the number. And a few more incidental things like that over the period of a year to 2 years. Mm-hmm. Now, in her confirmational bias, those things were excused as incidental realities. Mm-hmm. But in truth, it wasn't intuition that gave her the knowledge her husband was likely cheating. It was the incidental clues along the way. Mm-hmm. Perfume, phone numbers, and again, 3 or 4 other things that I'm failing to remember right now. And that's the point. We often mistake other things as intuition, but those other things are in fact very